Welcome back to the TRM Show. I'm your host, Dave Serafinas. Today we'll have our second segment with Steve Bernard. Now, Steve is the CEO and founder of Bernard Global LLC and has helped many organizations achieve better resiliency, particularly when it comes to cyber challenges. Thanks for being back on the show, Steve. Hope everyone enjoys this.
One of the things that you'll recall early on when you and I started working together is for international travelers, we had different policies, right? Who gets to have a limo when you arrive in a foreign country, like whatever, Mexico City, and who has to take public transportation or a taxi or whatever. And back then they didn't have Uber. Over time, I began to think about that, and it almost felt like a double standard. And it wasn't, intended. It's the way it was. Travelers, depending on your job level and salary and all that, you got different perks in travel. But what I implemented after a year or two there, I changed it. And what I said is, every person counts. Every person has a risk, and we've got at least to revisit what I felt were essential safeguards around how they travel, what hotel they stay in, ground transportation, even airlines, and so we changed it, and I think that most companies today have a view in that regard. If they don't, they should rethink it, because it's just as easy for someone at a lower level to become a victim as it is the CEO. I mean, granted, the CEO, you're probably going to have executive protection and all that. Okay, I get it. They're probably the most likely target for various reasons. Fine, I have no problem with that. But let's raise the bar a little bit on how you protect every employee, every consultant, every contractor.
Sometimes you won't even know if someone has traveled to a location that needs EP.
Right.
And sometimes the system can fail. For example, a traveler flies to San Diego, which is not going to trigger the need for even a pre-trip advisory, let alone security measures. However, they rent a car, they travel to Mexico to go visit a manufacturing plant. This breaches many areas of well-constructed travel policy. I think a pre-trip approval process will fix that problem.
I think it is too. The problem that you face in some organizations is that if they have employees who say, "Hey, I need to go to Mexico City, or I need to go to Rio, or I need to go to, South Africa," um, the company doesn't have the expertise to know how to grade the level of risk, how to determine the level of risk, and so maybe they use OSAC, or maybe they use a company like International SOS. If they do, that's great, because those companies, those organizations do know the risk. They spend every day looking at it, and they intelligently report on it and document it. But like I said, a lot of companies don't have that, and they don't do that. And so, oh, gee, you're going to Cape Town. Yeah, that's, I guess that's kind of high risk, but it's beautiful. Have a good time. And if you want to stay over, take a vacation, that's okay too. And I mean, it's just still not a laissez-faire, and it can't be that kind of approach. So at least do your homework, create standards around, high risk versus low to medium risk, and do it right.
Now, that leads us to discuss how travel and security policies correlate to risk ratings versus necessary executive protection or other risk mitigation.
Right.
For example, when do you need a medical briefing?
You reminded me, something that is sadly more common than not is for travelers who have a dependency on medication and forget that they're going to run out on the prescription while they're on the road, and how difficult it is to get that filled. And it sounds simple. Um, it really is not. And so I think when we talk about traveling to high risk locations, just travel in general, sometimes people are naive about it, right? It's not what they do or what they've done. And I think that um, again, companies need to have focus on this to really help educate and support and reply and respond to travelers. Um, it's critical.
Thanks again, Steve, for being on the show. Every time you talk, I listen. You've been a mentor and a friend. Wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you'll be back on the show again.